I have been tagged in the 10 questions, is it the hashtag? 10 questions van life hashtag, by Graham's Off Grid Gold, one of my subscribers. So I'm going to make a start on answering these questions. Make a model of my van. Don't ask me for technical things like numbers. It is a short wheelbase 2006 Renault Master X mobility van. That is what Spog is. How long did my van build take? I have no idea because I didn't do it. I bought a pre-done van from some guy who had done it, who we will call Mr. Bodget, because as you saw from the wiring and various other things, there have been some interesting things done to my van. I'm not saying I could do any better because I didn't know anything about it, but I knew certain things were not right with the van once I'd got him. So I have no idea. And to be fair, is a van ever complete? I mean, I've only been doing this since August, and I've only been watching van lifers for probably a year. And we're only in January now. But I don't think I know anyone who's actually finished their van completely. So I don't know. My van, I have no idea how long it took. My favourite place to stay. Right. Well, like I said, I've only had the van since the end of August. I've done a night on top of Clee Hill, which was my first night away in Spog. It was something else. Stunning, amazing, beautiful. And that's Shropshire. Would recommend it to anybody. Brilliant first experience. Definitely up there on my favourites. I can answer these two together because it also says the second one is worst place to stay. So if I go through them and tell you what I think of the ones I've stayed at, then we can make a decision. So that was my first ever stop out and loved it. My second stop out was probably up on the White Horse near Devizes. That was probably my least favourite one of all of them. I ended up parking, I used Google Maps as a guide to see where is a good spot to park. Found somewhere at the top of a lane and ended up parking in front of a tar pit, which wasn't there on the pictures on Google Earth, and it stunk of tar. So it was like a big mound of sort of asphalt tarmac that was waiting to be put down or something, I don't know. It was wet, it was windy, and this track obviously went somewhere that I was on because I had several kind of laddie cars drive past a few times. I'm sure the area was fine, but for various reasons, it was probably my least. It's not to say it was bad, it was my least favourite. Then I've done Rutland with Campervan Tales and with Tales from the DW, 2 channels. So that was Dan, Daryl and Keith. That was an awesome spot, but we had torrential rain for 2 days and we were only there for 2 days. But that didn't stop the fact it was a beautiful place and definitely a place I want to go back to in better weather, and company was fantastic. And then we did the Lake District, Coniston area, but it wasn't in Coniston we stayed at the top of a hill somewhere in a farm. That again was with Campervan Tales, Daryl and Keith. That was with Billy from Billy's Big Little Adventure, his other half and their friends. Beautiful location. It was November, so it was cold, but that was fine. I'd got electric hookups, I'd got a heater. It's the lakes, so it's hills and lakes and stunning scenery, even in November when it's freezing cold. And I did go up the old man of Coniston and climb to the top of that mountain, which was fantastic. So most of my park ups have been really good, if I'm honest. And then the one I did this weekend with Wandering Womble, Kev, and the Boondockers, Betty Boondockers, they came, and a friend of theirs. And that was at a pub near Leominster, next to a railway line, next to a river. Can't remember which river. But anyway, it was, again, a beautiful spot. Apart from the odd train going past, very peaceful. And it was a pub, so we could have dinner and then go and park in the car park and stay there all night. Didn't get bothered, didn't get any trouble, no harassing, no nothing. It was just nice, and yeah, it was a really good spot. Definitely recommend that one. So, what are we on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many people have I had in my van at once? Okay, so my van is a 7-seater with 7 seat belts because of my job. And I would probably say I've had 7 people in there when I've been working. I'm sure I must have had 6 or 7 people in there when I've been working. But for leisure reasons, so being away, I've had 4 people or 5 people in my van. I've had 4 people round the table. I've had 5 people on a day trip where my sister-in-law and my nephew were with me. And my son, one of my sons. So 5 people. Yeah, so probably 6 or 7 is the most I've had. Van disasters. Yeah. We're back to Mr. Budget again, aren't we? Van disasters. Big one was that driving the van home from the Peak District, because Daryl and Keith picked it up from Nottingham, drove over to the Peak District where we were staying, and on the way home, Spog broke down. Thankfully, before we got on the motorway, it was an issue with the what do you call it, kept cutting him, immobiliser, and that was down to a black box under the steering wheel, ECG something unit. So that cost me £300 to get fixed or replaced. So I had the auto electrician have a look at that, and they fixed that. Then I was still having the odd problem with juddering and still cutting out occasionally. Couldn't understand why. Turns out there was a aftermarket thing put on the engine to give the engine more power or something. I don't understand it. But anyway, once they'd unplugged that, Spog's been running, touch wood, like a dream. No chugging, no spluttering, no cutting out as I'm driving, no nothing. Cruises along beautifully. So those were my van disasters. Favourite feature in the van? Oh, got to be now my new diesel heater. Definitely got to be the diesel heater. That has been a game changer. That first night in there with heating, definitely makes a difference. Definitely. The least favourite feature of my van, I guess it's the fact that I have to have 7 seats for work, because otherwise I would ditch the bench seat and give myself more space to manoeuvre things around and have a bit more flexibility in the layout of the van. I would probably have chosen to have my kitchen unit behind the front seats and have the pull-out bed maybe going along the back of the van, or still coming down but having room down the side. I don't know. Not 100% sure. But yeah, probably my least favourite feature about the van is the fact that I have to have 7 seats now. My favourite part of van life. Okay, seeing so much of the UK. Like now, I just know I can go off at a moment's notice. If I know I've got a free weekend, I know I can just say to Lee, I'm going to go Friday and I'll be back Saturday sometime. And it's lovely. I get a bit of me time. And remembering that I used to have this as a dream when I was little. Like when I was really little, I thought I was going to live in a bus. I was going to get a double-decker bus. I was going to do it up, and I was just going to travel around and live in my bus and go wherever I wanted, whenever I wanted, and have my home with me. And then kind of reality kicked in, and I had to get a job, and you know, then you kind of have a set path. You get a job, you get a car, then you eventually get a house. And I totally forgot that that was my idea of what I wanted to do. And then I became a mum to 2 kids that it's not been an easy road with the ASD and what have you. It wasn't an easy road with them. I know parenting is never really that easy for anyone, but we had our challenges, and I just came totally absorbed in doing what I could to help them, and I became second to everything else. It was all about them and just getting through day to day. Love them dearly. have enjoyed their growing up, but it's not been easy. And so this has given me back, which sounds a bit cliche, finding myself. It's not. I've never lost myself. I just buried myself under being a mum. And now I'm beginning to remember those ideas I had of living in a bus and, yeah, travelling around. So I love that. And the amazing friends that I have met through this, through doing the YouTube, but they're van lifers. And amazing, amazing people. I have made myself some true lifetime friends. You guys know who you are. So definitely those are the two best things, in my opinion, for van life. And any tips for anyone about to start on van life? Yes, do it. Definitely do it. I know it's probably hard when you've got young kids. But as soon as you're in a position to do it, do it. Look at what vans are out there. Think about how you're going to use your van. Is it going to be your only vehicle like mine is? So how is it going to work around your everyday use? I originally wasn't going to get a van that was too tall for car parks, but ended up getting a van that was too tall for car parks. But we've worked around it. A lot of the supermarket car parks I can park in, they've got like a 2 or 3 hour or an hour and a half, depending on where you are, parking time limit. But who needs to be hanging around in town for much longer than that? So yeah, you just adapt, really. So just think about how you're going to use it, and whether or not it's going to be your only vehicle. If it's going to be your only vehicle, obviously you're going to have a lot more kind of criteria that you need to check off your list and go, yeah, it has to have this, it has to have this, and I've got to work the rest around it. If it's just a recreational vehicle, then you've got a bit more flexibility. And really, as everyone told me, you will not know what you need or what you like or what you don't like until you start using the van. I have got a double bed, rock and roll bed that pulls out and makes my rock and roll bed join up with the bench seat that's behind the front seats. And that's a huge bed, but it means I can't get to my fridge, can't get to my cupboards. I have to open the door to then move the rock and roll bed because I've got no space at the end. My toilet has to go on the rock and roll bed. If I forget something that's in one of those things, the fridge or the cupboard, I either have to move the toilet out of the van, then fold the bed up again with all the blankets and everything so I can get whatever it is I need out and get out of the van to be able to do that, or go without. But I've just adapted it in the last few weeks to make a single bed by using the table, a shortened table leg, and a blow-up mattress. So I've adapted it already, and that's come from that being a really irritating thing for me, having to move everything, and once the bed's down, it's taken up the whole van. So yeah, those are my tips. How are you going to use it? Really think about that. If you're in a position to do it, do it. Don't think about it, just do it. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, the layout. Right, I suppose I should tag someone. I think everyone's done it. I don't know. I think everyone's done it. Especially can't think of any UK people that haven't done it. Tell you what, if you haven't been tagged yet and you want to do it, go for it. Do it. I'll tag all of those of you that haven't yet been done and would like to do it. There you go. Right, thanks for watching. I will see you all very soon.